Hi, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Charlie.
And this is the Jug O Sip Podcast.
You can find the Jug O Sip Podcast on YouTube and Spotify every Monday and Friday.
And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow at Jug O Sip Podcast on all social media.
We got some special guests today on the Jug O Sip Podcast. Why don't you tell them who they are, Lindsay?
Well, today we have two long-term stand-up comedians. Both run a production company called Golden Artist Entertainment. And Jug O Sip welcomes Dante, the comic, and Rebekah, Kochan.
Yes.
Yay! Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
We wanted to do it right. We wanted to make sure that you guys had the right intro.
We're definitely new at this. We're very awkward.
No, it's perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're glad to have you guys. How have you guys been going through with the quarantine? How you been dealing with that?
I think we're probably better than most. I don't mean to say that to brag, but we're kind of, there's a bunch of us over here. It's me and Rebekah, and her father lives with us, and our daughter lives with us part-time, and her brother lives really close, so he's here all the time as well. So it's basically 5 of us in this house, 2 dogs, we have 2 big yards. You know what I mean? We worked from home anyway, so it's not totally different for us. It's not like we were used to driving to some job and eating lunch with friends at work, and you know what I mean?
Right. The only difference is, you can't obviously go
have fun at night.
Produce shows or go to comedy clubs or anything.
Yeah, our daytimes are normal. Our night times are still crazy because we have a crazy life, but it used to be even crazier. We had to go out every night to perform or hang out or network or whatever.
And now there's a lot of binge watching Sopranos stuff.
A lot of it.
Do you guys miss the performing at all? Like, do you miss being the open mics, being at and
the actual stage performance and stuff?
Well,
being out
never
there.
Open mics. I never miss those, but. Do we miss it? Of course. I mean, there's no feeling like being on stage in live performances, but we're also totally patient people and believe in science. And if I don't perform for a year, who cares? I performed 34 years out of my 49. I'm going to live. You know what I mean?
And luckily, we can still perform in a way. I was just telling Dante, if this was happening 10 years ago, we would have technology in place to be able to entertain yourself the way that we are, because people,
tonight,
comedy shows,
I'm on Zoom tonight at 6:00. She's got a Zoom show on Friday. We've done a bunch of these already. So, it's not like, everything is shut down. Plus, we own this company, and thank God the company, we're an entertainment company, so, 99% of this company is shut down, but we also have a lot of celebrities, and they're on Cameo, and they're getting requests for other things. So luckily we're also, the company's not going under at all during this. So we're very happy about that.
So you guys are basically some of the lucky ones. We're kind of like that. We were really fortunate to have a really good savings egg, nest egg to sit on.
Little nest egg going on,
And that's why we started the podcast, was trying to work from home and kind of make our own living. But, what I want to ask you, actually, I'm glad you mentioned the entertainment company, because I wanted to ask you guys, what's that like running that together as a couple? Because it's already such a hard job. But as a couple, how does it affect your day-to-day lives? Do you guys feel like it's improved your relationship?
I do feel like it's. We work hard in our relationship, like everyone should if you want to have a good relationship. But
we take our relationship extremely serious, and
which I think you have to if you want to have a functioning relationship.
Right, but we'll get to that. But to answer your question, I'll be honest. At first, it was hard. Because there were times that I would say something to Rebekah, or she would say something to me, and being husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend, we don't want to hear that from our husband or wife, but it's business.
Right.
And we had to get used to talking to each other during the daytime as business people who also love each other.
Right.
Yeah.
But we also, we focus on different parts of the company. I'm not a manager. I just run the production end of things and the festival, you know what I mean? We're not as the client. So it's not like we're doing the exact same thing in the company.
Right. A lot of times our employees will call me and say, hey, did Rebekah do this or that? I'm like, I have no idea. You're going to have to ask Rebekah.
Our employees actually get mad because it's for example,
yesterday. Oh my God.
Someone emailed us something and literally in the same second from different rooms, we sent her back complete opposite answers.
Right. I wrote back saying, we'll get back to you tomorrow. We're very busy. And then Rebekah wrote her back that same second.
Being
oh my God,
funny.
That's so funny.
That's funny.
Right. So I'm sure she's like, I think you guys will get your shit together.
And talk to each other while you're working.
Say that last part again. I think the mic not be close. The mic might not be close enough to you.
We were just saying that we need to communicate our stuff better before we send emails, and that's a lesson.
Oh.
Right, that's a lesson that we need to, because really, like, he'll be working in the living room and I'll be working in the bedroom, and I have no idea what he's doing for like 2 hours.
Right, I might be in the front yard and she's working in the backyard, and we don't talk during that time period because she's working on a festival and I'm, spelling some celebrities in the front yard or something, and there's just, whatever. But I will say this, to answer your question, it's a dream to work with my wife. I was married for 15 years to a woman who was a student most of that time and is now a nurse. But she had zero interest in my career, and it hurt, I would go on TV and she would literally change the channel and say, well, my show's on. Don't you have a copy of this somewhere?
Oh, wait a minute. I think we're losing you a little bit. Could you guys speak a little closer to the mic? We can't hear you too well.
Oh, that's really weird. Okay. Is this any better?
We hear you super clear now.
Yeah, it was cutting out a bit before, and it was sort of like we could hear it, but we started losing you for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. What was I saying?
Well, you were telling us about how
your first marriage.
Yeah, your first marriage.
Oh, she just didn't care about my career. Like I said, I came on TV and she would flip the channel and say, well, you have a copy of that somewhere, don't you?
What
was like,
fuck?
God.
Right. I'm like, I'm on TV right now. When I got on Last Comic Standing, that's a huge deal. Like,
yeah.
I would be so proud.
Right. For a comedian at the time, that was the biggest thing in the world, was to get on Last Comic Standing. And do you know that she didn't even ask me for 2 weeks? When she finally did is when I told her I got on the show.
Oh my God.
That's crazy. Like, I can't imagine that, because, I mean, sure, I'm a performer, but like, if Charlie does, video editing and stuff, I have no interest in myself. But when he talks about what he does, I'm interested. I like to hear it. When you love somebody, it's good to be a part of that.
Right.
Of course. When you love somebody, you're supposed to care about what they're doing. You know what I mean?
That's why it's great to work in the industry together.
Yeah. It's great. I can't imagine being with someone that wasn't in the industry. I'm sure you guys feel the same way.
Yeah. Like, and I mean, I've had a ton of toxic relationships, even with people that did the same thing I did. It's just the chemistry didn't work, or they didn't want to put in the same amount of effort or whatever.
As have I. My ex, her issue mainly was she didn't feel fulfilled in herself, and she felt like she didn't really have a lot of purpose in herself, but she also didn't put in the work to build her own craft to give herself that purpose, and it left her very angry, and that really put a strain on the relationship in a lot of ways. I
mean, I was reading over like all of your, your work and stuff and doing some research on you guys. And I mean, like, you both have done some impressive stuff. I couldn't imagine not being proud of you. I'm proud of you, and I'm not even like in a relationship with you guys.
Oh, that's so nice.
I'm like literally going through it. I'm like, I fucking love them so much. I feel like I've known you guys for years.
Yeah, you guys have so many amazing achievements. Like Dante, this one I really want to ask you about.
You're such a bad motherfucker, Dante.
You have more You have more BET awards than anybody?
I know. Like, how? Like, what? What is this?
I mean, the sad part is that they're in my, where are they? Oh, shoot, my phone's ringing. Yeah, the sad part is they're in my garage because, oh, nuts, you guys. I'm getting a weird, I'm sorry that the phone call came in during the show.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I was on BET from 1991 till about 2001. I even had a sitcom on BET called The Blackberry Inn.
Yeah, I was reading about that. You played Crazy Bob.
Yeah.
Crazy Bob, that's right. And what's funny is there's a famous comedian named Tom Rhodes. His dad played my dad on the show, and I didn't even know it for about a year. And then he goes, oh, by the way, my son is Tom Rhodes. And then his dad died. And now me and Tom Rhodes are friends because we have that connection of his dad. He loves that his dad played my dad, and now we're buddies. It's kind of
That is awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but those BET days were crazy. I love it. It's a big part of my history. I was, on TV probably 5 times a day on BET every day between my sitcom and my stand-up. I had done so much stand-up on there. I don't think that there was a day in the 90s to about 2000 where I wasn't on TV.
See, that's probably why I didn't know much more about you. I wasn't allowed to watch BET growing up. And I wasn't allowed to watch MTV. I had one of those like super sheltering moms. So like the only time I got to see BET is when I went to visit my aunt in Connecticut, and when no one was paying attention to me, and I could like sneak and watch shit that I wasn't allowed to watch.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, BET had some good programming. Same with MTV, but I get it. Like Rebekah grew up around a lot of Mormons, and they weren't. They thought even watching the movie Grease was too much.
Right? Yeah, I was like the token
Jewish
girl around a bunch of Mormons in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
wow.
I had read you were from Vegas, and I also read that your first acting role was in Annie, playing Annie.
When I was a child, yes.
I love that, though, because when I was a kid, that was my favorite movie.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to grow up to either play Miss Hannigan or Lily St. Regis.
Right? I know Lily St. Regis is really like my favorite role, probably.
Who's Lily St. Regis?
That's the Bernadette Peters role.
Oh, I love her.
Honestly, you would be so perfect for that. Like, I can't even. Like just looking at you and just the performance you do, like, Rebekah, you would be like the ideal casting for that.
Thank you. That's a fun role, too. It's fun. It's more fun to play the smaller roles, too, I think.
It is. And, like, villains are more fun, too.
Oh,
yeah.
In general.
So more fun.
Yes, they are. Speaking of valuable movies that just came out, hello?
What happened? Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Oh,
Yeah,
hi.
what's
Sorry. Oh, so it's called Still Waiting in the Wings. It's part 2 to Waiting in the Wings, but they are both these great musical movies. There's not enough musicals in the world.
It's true.
And Rebekah has a
I agree.
tiny part in the first one, and then a good part in the second one, and then I play a porn producer in the second one as well, which they're both on Amazon Prime and in a million other places right now.
You say you play a what in the second one? Say it again.
A porn producer.
Oh,
porn
nice.
Producer. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's real funny.
Porn producer. Popcorn producer.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right.
We also
Yeah.
so you guys have done several movies together, had involvement with movie projects together, right?
Yeah. What could you tell us a little bit more about the movies you've been in?
Well, we've both been in.
Why don't you start? You've been in more movies than me.
But we've been in movies together and separately. So I was very fortunate when I was 18 or 19 to be cast in this. At the time, there weren't a lot of like gay mainstream. Oh, this wasn't mainstream, but there weren't a lot of just like regular movies about gay people. And so this was like a romantic comedy about two men.
Oh, you cutting out a little bit again.
It's so weird.
So
it must be. We haven't moved or anything. It must be the internet connection.
It
It's
might
very
be.
possible.
Yeah, because we're pretty far away from each other. It might be that.
Yeah, there's bits and pieces where it sounds like you guys are kind of far, but it's just tech stuff. I'm sure we can work through it.
Yeah, and mics are weird. Like you gotta be real. You gotta be on it and like talk at it for it to pick you up sometimes.
I'm gonna move it a little bit closer to our. I don't know. Whatever. Let's see if this works better. Is that better at all?
Well, yeah, you're pretty clear.
Yeah.
Rebekah, you still there?
Is this good? Are you hearing us?
Yeah,
well?
we
Yeah,
can
that's
hear you
great.
perfectly. Tell me what those movies were about again. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. And just let us know too. We're just gonna leave the mic here.
Okay.
So yeah, when I was 19, I was cast in this movie called Eating Out, and it was like a gay romantic comedy, and it had no budget and was shot in 10 days, as most independent films are. And it became right. And it became this huge cult hit, which is amazing, that's what everyone hopes is going to happen. And I was really lucky. And from that movie, I was cast in a lot of other gay movies.
Plus, they made 5 of those,
there were
American Pie movies, so they were huge. They were like the American Pie movies, but for gay men.
Right. Yeah,
Could you tell us what they're about? Because I've never heard of these movies.
I had heard about them,
Yeah.
and I know her character's name was Tiffany Vandersloot.
Okay.
But that's all I knew.
Yeah.
So I'm the only one in the family that's of the LGBT community, so I've at least heard of it. I'm one with my ear to the ground in the queer community.
I know everyone thinks it's about lesbians because it's called Eating Out. I'm like, no, it couldn't be further from the lesbian story, actually.
Yeah, most of the stories are about like 2 guys that are buddies that are sort of in love, and then
no. Well, like in the first one, it's a guy that's quote unquote straight and then like falls for a dude. You know what I mean? Like every gay man's fantasy.
They're all basically about falling for a straight man.
Right. Or like the straight man isn't as straight as he obviously originally thought. You know what I mean? And I'm their slutty best friend that's always like fucking things up for everyone in the story. You know what I mean? So
that sounds great.
So fun. Probably like even still today, it's probably the most fun role I've ever played, and
such a big deal to the world because almost every day she gets letters from all over the world, like, hey, I'm in Russia. We're not allowed to be gay here, but I've watched your movies over and over, and you give me inspiration.
Or
guys
from the Middle East,
that's such a great thing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Like, we forget how privileged we are that we can even just like talk about being openly gay in this country.
Honestly, I would cry like every day because like, honestly, even when people are like, oh, you helped me with something, even in their own personal life and they're not even going through as much pain, it's like, wow, what the fuck? That's crazy.
Right.
I tell her to be proud for that all the time.
It's an amazing feeling for sure.
You're doing an amazing thing in this world.
You should be proud of that because like just what you said just now, in Russia, it's very difficult for someone to be openly gay.
In a lot of countries, it's really sad.
And the fact that you did this role that's helping people at least feel more comfortable in their own skin, that's a very big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing thing to be a part of, that I've been a part of these movies that have brought so many people, so much joy. It really, really is. I feel very, very grateful every day. Anytime I get any sort of mail from people saying how much it meant to them, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I got to be part of something like this.
Yeah, and that's the bigger deal because the LGBT community is still the underdog, but she also, at the same time, was getting famous. I love bragging about my wife, sorry. She was getting famous.
No, we love hearing it. It's great.
Please do.
In horror movies, like bad horror movies, like, B horror movies. The company that made Sharknado?
Yeah. Asylum? Yeah, we know them, yeah.
Rebekah was their first starlet.
No, I wasn't their first, but I was just one of many.
You were one of their first starlets. You were their biggest starlet for a while, and she started.
That is awesome.
One of their movies, she was always the one who killed the killer at the end, and a few she got killed, but usually she's stumbling out bloody, killing, after killing the killer.
Oh, you were the final girl.
That's the best role. That's so fun.
Some of them I get killed, and usually I'm the one at the end.
Right, and they're always knockoffs. Like, remember there was a movie called, like, When a Stranger Calls?
Right,
she was in When a Killer Calls. So it's all about her babysitting these kids, and the phone calls keep coming in.
Oh, cool.
Oh, my God.
See, I mean, here we, like, on this podcast, we want you guys to brag about your accomplishments and each other because we're that kind of couple. Like, I brag about him all the time. And
I'm definitely talking about her.
Definitely having, like, the skills that you guys have and the way you've touched lives, it's definitely something you should definitely cherish and brag about because it's really special. It really is.
Nice. Thank you. I just like bragging about my wife. When it comes to talking about me, I get excited if I'm talking shop, but when I'm bragging about myself, I just feel funny because I don't know why. I don't know. I guess I don't have an ego about it, I guess.
And there's a difference in ego, though, and I just don't want anybody to dim their own light.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
If you've done something brilliant to contribute to the world, people should know about it.
That's so rare and so beautiful. Like, just the fact that you guys do what you do and how you've had such a positive attitude about it, and you guys are overall just good people, that is not something that's very common.
No, it's not. And it's the kind of thing that really needs the spotlight.
We take notice to that a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Really. Thank you.
Yeah.
No worries.
We're glad.
I mean, just like I said, you guys have done a lot of things. We also noticed you guys did a movie with Bobby Lee, and we have to talk about that because we're a Bobby Lee household
we
here.
We love Bobby Lee. I listen to Tiger Belly.
We listen to Tiger Belly
all the time. But yeah, y'all did a movie with Bobby Lee?
Okay, so here's the truth about all of this. So I've known Bobby since he was a kid. He started out in San Diego at the Comedy Store, and so did I. I think he said when we were on set, he said to me and the whole crew, he was like, Dante, you saved my life one time. I was like, what?
This is on the Bro What Happened set that Dante directed.
Yeah.
Well, I directed
Tell
a
us
movie
about
called
that,
Bro What
please.
Happened, and Rebekah stars in it. She's the main comic relief of the movie, and a whole bunch of other people are in it. But anyway,
Okay.
Bobby plays like a kind of like a guru on this college campus, and it's a really funny part. But something sad happened during this movie. Like, he and I got along great. I called him up last minute. We were supposed to have Tommy Chong for the part. And I called him up and I said, hey, man, here's the budget we have. You only have to be here for like 4 hours. We're going to, try to shoot you into as many scenes as possible. We're going to take photos of you for the poster and blah, blah, blah. So we did all of that. And then when the movie came out, he saw the poster and got mad at me that he was on the poster and called me. And I said, well, you went in there to the poster room and took photos for the poster. And he goes, yeah, but I didn't know I was going to be on the poster. I was only, worked one day. I was like, dude, it was an 8-day shoot. It's not like, you working one day doesn't disqualify you from the poster. I said, look, if you don't want to be on the poster, I'll ask the producers. I said, but it's not my movie. I just directed it.
Right.
This isn't me, but I can transfer you to those guys. And I guess his manager called me and said, take him off the poster and blah, blah, blah. And I told her the same thing. I said, Bobby's my friend. I would gladly do it if it were my movie, but you need to talk to these people. But since that day, he and I sadly have never talked.
Oh man.
No.
I know.
No.
And we were friends forever. I loved that kid. Oh, well. No big deal.
It seemed like a shitty, egotistical,
He's talked about it on Tiger Belly, by the way.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, I think I recall him talking about.
I didn't hear that, but you listened to it more than I do.
Yeah, in the earlier days of Tiger Belly, I think he touched on it briefly, very briefly. Because this does sound sort of familiar to me, but that's really unfortunate.
It is.
Yeah, and we talked about it like 2 years ago because I ran into him at Starbucks. We were talking to Dean Del Rey, me and Rebekah, and I guess Bobby was sitting behind us and we didn't see him. So then he went on the podcast that night. I was like, man, I'm glad Dante didn't notice I was sitting right behind him the whole time, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, shit.
Damn.
I know. It's just, here's the thing. In Hollywood, there's truly no, why wouldn't you want to have your face on a movie, even if it's not your favorite movie?
I'd be so fucking grateful. I would
watch the movie. He never even saw the movie. Go watch the movie. It's a great movie.
Right. It's a great, fun, college sex comedy. You know what I mean?
Right. It's basically it's Superbad meets The Hangover on a college campus.
And Jamie, it's you don't want to be on a movie poster with Jamie Kennedy also.
Right. It's Jamie Kennedy, Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell. There's a million cameos.
This is a great cast.
Right?
Right, for real. So, and my husband is such a nice man. I was super mad because I'm protective of my husband. And I was like, fuck him, man. How dare you hurt my husband's feelings?
Because the whole time I was so upset that he was upset that I really was trying to help him. I was calling producers and begging them to take
because
him
my
off
husband is such a nice man and he didn't want to hurt Bobby Lee's feelings. The last thing he would ever want to do is hurt anyone's feelings. And I'm very protective, so I was just super pissed.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. Well,
but anyway, so I left it at that. I've never said a bad word about him.
No, and of course.
And I wouldn't. I mean, I understand. If he got mad that he was on the poster, blah, blah, blah. It's just his anger was directed at the wrong person, not me.
Right, and you're both human, and judging by you and Rebekah in general, you guys seem like really great people. I really like your energy. I don't think either one of you would intentionally hurt anybody, but we're humans.
Right.
No, and here's the thing. I speak the truth. I don't ever lie to anyone. My daughter knows that. My wife knows that. So me saying this on your podcast, I have no weird feelings about it because Bobby knows there's no untruth to what I'm saying.
Well,
and we've seen him at the comedy store many times.
It's I don't think he hates me. He's looked at me at the comedy store here and there. I just wonder why he got so mad at me. I think he just never understood that it wasn't my movie. You know what I mean?
And also, everyone's going through their own shit too. We don't know if he was going through a really bad 6 months at that time. No, we don't know.
Who knows, right? He could have. Maybe he was getting in trouble with his agent for even doing the movie.
Right, because that happens too. That if you do projects with friends and your agents feel like it's quote unquote beneath you, then there's an issue there with that. You
right.
know?
So maybe he was getting shit from his agent and took it out on me. I really don't know. But whatever.
Well, I was going to say that. You never know where somebody's at. And it's you don't seem like, and I'm glad you don't have any anger, because sometimes that just happens with friendships. Sometimes someone will react very negatively during the friendship over something that seems like it's not that big of a deal. And it sort of creates a permanent tension to where they're too embarrassed to ever properly apologize or fix the problem.
Yeah.
So it just creates
You're not wrong.
Yeah. It's I don't hate you, but I can't be around you because I've embarrassed myself too permanently.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
and they just can't think of a way to recover the situation, after thinking about it. It can just be very emotionally awkward.
And it sounds like all he would have to do is just be like, yo, sorry I freaked out the way that I did. It doesn't sound like it could have been pretty mended pretty easily, it sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like a giant misunderstanding that's just kind of
going
been
through some bad shit.
Yeah. And it sounds,
and like I said, it doesn't even. We don't even think about it, honestly. The fact that you brought it up is like,
right. As soon as you brought it up, I was like, uh-oh.
I looked at her face and she like rolled her eyes because we've actually never talked about this before online or. Yeah, I've never talked about this before. I've only talked about it with my wife, so we've never said this online or...
I know. Part of me, I was like, should I tell Dante if it was like not saying anything? And I was like,
no, I'd rather get it out there because he put it out there, and and he wasn't mean about his response. I think he told the truth.
I didn't listen to it. I only, someone called us and was like, Bobby Lee was talking about you.
Well, and we want you guys to own your truth. I mean, like, I don't want you to feel awkward because it's life. Shit like this happens, and as long as everybody's cool with each other and respectful, I don't care what you say, because sometimes you just need to say it.
Yeah, and we're
That's right.
Very big fan. We're very big fans of yours and Bobby Lee's as well. That's the only reason we even brought it up, because we were just impressed that people we enjoy work together.
And you guys are humans.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
And guess what? The kid is so talented. He really is.
He really is. He's so funny.
He's so funny.
Yeah,
always has been. So
yeah, no, he's
sure
grown.
We'll be friends again someday.
I
hope so.
We've been following Bobby Lee's work since
we were kids.
Since we were because we only discovered him through Mad TV initially because we were just a little too young for anything before that. But I mean, we still talk about
Connie
that.
Chung was so funny.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
well, and
it's really funny.
Yeah.
That's why we were so excited to talk to you guys too, because not only are you guys chill people, but Charles and I are both comedy nerds.
Yeah, we're very, very big Like, I've never done stand up myself.
I have a couple of times. I'm still kind of novice in it.
But we're such diehard. We're straight up nerds when it comes to comedy. I mean, we'll sit there and
read
watch
comedy books and watch comedy specials just to observe them.
We'll watch the same joke.
I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah. We'll watch the same joke 8 or 9 times back and forth just to get the structure.
I think I came out of the womb saying the rule of 3. Like, I don't.
I love that.
Good for you.
That's great.
Wow, yeah, you guys are definitely educated on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I kind of call myself an entertainer overall. Like, I do everything from acting to comedy and stuff like that. One is not my main thing. I just kind of do everything.
I call it Lindsay the entertainer. Because Cedric the entertainer is one of my favorite comedians.
So,
I love it. You are. It sounds like it.
I'm gonna call Cedric and tell him that there's a new sheriff in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can team up. It'd be really cool. No, but yeah, when I was
that would be really cool.
I found out the best way to get attention as a kid was to tell jokes. So I started like just telling little jokes around the house, and it's kind of became like an addiction for me. And I think Charles did the same thing.
Yeah, I was a pretty awkward kid when it came to social interactions. I didn't really know how to be a human around other humans. But then I learned, okay, well, if I'm funny, then I could at least talk them into liking me.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's where I went with that.
Women love funny, and tough guys also like funny. Like, I've gotten out of so many fights by being funny. However, my very first joke I ever wrote, I was in, I think, 2nd grade, and the kid in front of me, he cut in front of me in line to go to the cafeteria.
Say that one more time. The kid did what?
A kid cut in front of me in line at the cafeteria.
Okay.
And I was trying to think of a roast for him, and he had a big nose, and so I tapped him. I said, "Hey, man, your parents, your ancestors didn't come over here on the Mayflower. They came over on Noah's Ark as the elephant."
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. He turned around and kicked me in the balls. And that was the first reaction to a joke I'd ever written, and I spent 4 days in the hospital.
Oh, my God.
Now I tell jokes for a living.
Well, I mean, at least you got your 10,000 hours in, you practiced.
I think that happens to every comic. Like, we figure out that's a great defense mechanism. Like, that's how I got out of a lot of fights myself. And for some reason, like, boys and grown-ass men have spent their entire lives trying to fight me for some reason. So it's even better when you're funny and you can get them to... Yeah, I don't know what it is about my energy, but I'll walk into like a bar somewhere and some guy will like step on my foot and I'll be like, "What the fuck, man?" And he'll like try to fight me and chest up to me. And I'm 5'3" and 125 pounds. I am not a big girl.
What is wrong with men?
Right.
I've been asking myself that for years and I don't know.
That's very strange.
They very much oversell their current market value.
That is like the best way ever anyone's ever put it ever. They certainly have.
that's like really what I do is I spend most of my time roasting men on the internet. Like, I just like spend my free time roasting people. It's a great outlet for me.
It's gotten to a point where people have begun to call you
to come and get them to fight for them on the internet. Like I have become everyone's mom.
Yeah, like you got to open up a roasting agency almost like that. That's how often people have you do that for them.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's 5 a.m. Why do I have to go yell at an incel right now? I'm so tired.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super fun. I have a question for you, Rebekah, that I'm very curious about.
Yeah.
I have never seen the AVN Awards.
Me neither, surprisingly.
But you hosted one? You've hosted a couple of them? What was that like?
So I hosted one of them. I had never seen them either. I don't do porn, but I was, really grateful to be, asked to do it by Showtime. And
I'll brag for her. So really for her being not as known as the other people. The people before her were like Robert Schimmel had done it. Doug Stanhope had hosted it. What's her name? The insult comedian.
Oh, Lisa Lampanelli.
Oh, I love her.
Lisa Lampanelli. Okay.
Everyone hosted this show, and then they asked her. It was a big deal.
It was a big deal for sure. I was very, very excited, and it was definitely an educational experience. No, I mean, to be honest with you, it was extremely professional. It was, all of the directors.
It really is professional. Like last year, Cardi B was on.
Right, like Showtime runs everything, and like the only thing about it that's porn is the fact that it happens to be the Porn Awards. But
but definitely it's a lot of fun.
Here's how crazy it is. They hired her because she has these crazy, outrageous, dirty jokes. And the guy took us out the night before it aired to dinner from Showtime. He took us out to dinner and said, I hate to tell you this, but my 2 favorite jokes of yours have been cut from the show. And I turned to him and I was like, you're going to show a double anal award, but you cut out her, abortion joke?
Right.
Give me a break.
I know. I was like, well, whatever. But I didn't really care. I was just glad that I was on it. You know what I mean? But it was, it was super interesting. And like all these, like these girls with these awards and they get up there and they cry, about like winning like best anal scene. Like they just won an Oscar. Like it was awesome.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That is the kind of energy I want all the fucking time.
Yeah, we need more of that positive energy.
Yeah, I know. I loved it. I was like, this is so great. You know what I mean?
I'm not even a sex worker, and I go on pro sex work pages on Facebook all the time just to be like, you guys are hot. I love you.
I know. And right now, sex workers have to be doing better than ever because, no one can leave their house. Everyone's like cam girling it up right now.
For real? Yeah. Wait, and you said that they blocked 2 of your jokes.
Cut 2 of them.
They cut 2 of your jokes. Do you mind telling us what those jokes were? Because I'm very curious to know what those jokes were.
Okay. So one of the jokes was I said, so we have a goldfish pond in our front yard and with little goldfish swimming around, and my stepdaughter was over and she comes up to me and she goes, Rebekah, how do you know when a goldfish is pregnant? And I was like, well, because the blackfish stops coming around.
Holy shit, that's great.
Oh shit. That is really good.
Why the fuck did they cut that? That's so good.
Thank you.
Oh, that's funny.
And the guy who hired me to do Showtime, he had to go, he had to go to one of the heads of Showtime and try to explain this joke to them, and they didn't think it was funny at all.
Wow.
That's the thing with comedy too. Some people just you really will have an amazing joke, and you'll be so excited to tell it, and it's hilarious. And then there's gonna be people who are like, "What?"
Yeah,
and you're like, fuck.
Well, and especially now, it's you really even this joke. The joke I just told you now. I used to say that joke in my act a lot, and I don't anymore, just because the climate has changed so much that now it just feels offensive more than funny. You know what I mean?
You feel like you have to overthink your jokes. You have to overthink fucking everything.
You have to overthink everything, and it's changed. Even I've been doing comedy for 12 years, and I mean, the climate has just changed so much even in these 12 years, you know, like really, Dante and I talk about this all the time. Jokes that we could even tell on the road 2 years ago now feel outdated and not appropriate to say just because things continue to evolve so much all the time.
Sure. And you're starting to see comics tell jokes with like accents of different races that people are like, I'm not buying that anymore. Or you will have a more professional comedian who can still get away with it because they aren't adding malice to the jokes, if that makes sense.
But it's still like anyone under the age of 21, though, like
it's gonna think you're
you're old and racist. You know what I mean?
Right. They don't understand context, and it's like you don't like as a comic, you're not always meaning what you say. It's all just exaggerated truths or false truths. Right. And it's mocking the truth about how society works, and even if it's fucked up, like the joke you just told. That's not like that's just pointing out how fucked up society is and how like it's a stereotype in society.
Yeah. It's more. I mean, I'm a black person. I wasn't offended by the joke at all. Like, you know, I thought it was funny, but you know, when I hear a joke like that, I'm not thinking about me wanting to leave whatever person I end up with. You know, they're like, I'm not gonna leave Lindsay if she has a kid or whatever. You know, that's not the first place my mind went. It was just like, that's
great. That's hilarious.
The first thing I thought was, some black people do that sometimes. Like, this is messed up.
Sometimes.
You know? It'd be like that.
Right.
You know?
I mean,
and we don't want you guys to feel uncomfortable like telling jokes like that on our podcast because we want you guys to be free here.
Yeah, we're really not. We don't like the idea of controlling people's behavior so much. I mean, everything has a line, sure, but these are jokes. That's the whole point of a joke. They're designed. They're designed for people to make fun of themselves. If humanity spent the whole time taking itself too seriously, we basically wouldn't be getting anything done. We'd just be sitting around angry all the time.
Yeah,
right. Which I feel like social media has kind of become that. The people are just kind of sitting around angry a lot of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my God.
I told Dante, I was like, I go through waves where I'm like, I just have to like shut down Facebook. Like, has anything good ever come from this fucking Facebook page? You know what I mean?
You know what's
No, I feel you.
Well, it's run by Zuckerberg. His whole
his toxic ass message.
Yeah, I mean, I actually worked for a company that sold almost exclusively on Facebook, and we had to learn how that algorithm worked. And they would literally, like, the information we would get is they would literally find people. They find out what people hated, and they would just funnel all the shit that they hated into their page because what it does is that it makes people stay on the website. And that's the whole point. They get people to stay on the website by manipulating their emotions, and then it allows them to get more ad revenue to keep the website going. It's a really disturbing thing that they do.
And I'm the one who does all of our social media marketing, and I have to do a lot of it since we're such a young podcast. We've only been on the air for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, I'm constantly seeing this shit, and I'm like, I've had to create a no engage policy and don't engage unless somebody engages me first.
Right.
Because I get like Julia Sugarbaker mad.
Right. I know. It's really, really difficult. And it's weird. And like coming back to telling like the joke I just told you, how like, I mean, now people be like, oh, you're this awful racist person. Whereas like, that was a joke I told for years on the road, and I never once had anyone of any race come up and be like, you really shouldn't say things like that. You know what I mean? And I have I'm Jewish, and I have told many Jewish jokes, and I have had non-Jewish people come up to me and be like, you can't say things like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
that's crazy.
No, it's true. I make jokes about my depression and like CPTSD and all the time. And I notice it's always like, no matter what it is, it's always white people getting mad. It's always, and I'm a white person. I constantly walk around my house going, fucking white people all the time.
That's how we say that shit too, because as Italians and Jews, and my daughter is a black Italian Jew, we don't.
That is an interesting mix.
I like that.
I know, right?
We don't consider ourselves white people either. White people don't consider us white either. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, we don't like the Italians and the Jews hanging out with them, and we don't like hanging out with white people.
Right.
You guys are lucky. I'm just like, I don't know what exactly I am, but I know it's like Irish and Norse. I can't get away with shit other than the fact that like I was like from a press group in Ireland. That's about it. Like,
you know what I mean? Like, the waspy people are the ones that you just can't be around.
No, and I mean, I don't like being around anybody who just can't chill out and like have a good time. Like there's a line. I don't do things to hurt people, but like, come on, man. I'll even if I filter a joke, there's always someone like, you can't say that.
Right.
And I call it Apple.
It's just
comedy's
become so much of comedy has just become bashing comedy. Like if you go on Comedy Central's Instagram page, they post like 3-minute clips of people here and there. Every single comment is like, they suck. How did they get a special? They suck. That's not funny. Like that's all it is. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and you're like,
it's
man,
that's awful.
And it's unfair to criticize comics, especially in this climate when, material's already fucking hard to write as a whole.
And plus, everybody's sense of humor isn't the same.
Nope, exactly.
Like, for example, I'm a very big fan of Sebastian Maniscalco. Lindsay is not.
Yeah.
Right. We're both big fans of Joey Diaz. And
I loved Lisa Lampanelli, and you didn't like her as well as I did.
I don't vibe with her jokes as much, but... Right. These sensibilities, it's weird. It's like we live in a climate right now where everyone is trying to force people to be the same way emotionally and psychologically.
Why? Because of Trump and also because of the algorithm.
Yes.
Well, and it's also the people criticizing are people who've never done comedy or entertainment in their life.
Totally.
They're just angrily criticizing people who don't like, acting and comedy. Like, I'm so grateful to be a part of all of that, and it's fun, but it's not just fun. There's a lot of times like, you fucking bomb and you go home crying or something. Like, it's not.
Right.
You go home and you're like, I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit. And the next day you get all these like great reviews.
Right.
It's a very emotional journey.
Well, it was like how Rebekah got the Showtime thing. She was doing a showcase at the Comedy Store in front of industry, and everyone went clean except her. She went dirty. If she didn't do that, she wouldn't have gotten Showtime. But in front of that audience, she bombed because they were there to see clean comedy.
Bombed. Like I was sweating bullets up there. I was like, man.
Were you not getting laughs? Or
what was
different levels of bombing?
What was happening during the performance that made you feel like you bombed? Because sometimes,
Oh no, I bombed. Like it was it was bombing because it was silent. There was this one gay guy in the front row that like after every punchline he would clap and be like, "Yes, girl," but that's all you could hear.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that sounds like my second open mic that I had at that one bar. Oh my god, I wanted to die. I wanted to walk in front of a fucking bus. Like my first open mic did so well too.
That's always how it is. The first time you're great and you're like, oh, I got this. I am a professional. And then your second time you're like, why did I ever do this?
And life's like, nope, bitch, not today.
Oh, man.
Rebekah's gay fans always sit up front and they always clap after almost every joke she tells. It's hilarious. Some of them will give her standing O's like 3 or 4 times during her set, just depending on what joke she tells. It's hilarious.
That is so awesome.
The audience is like looking, and it'll be like 8 gay men standing up in the front clapping.
Right. The rest of the audience, you can tell, is like, I have no idea what's going on right now.
That sounds like my entire life. I feel like that's my Facebook feed. It's just like 5 gay men applauding me and like 2 goth girls, everybody else like reporting me to Facebook police.
Well, look, the thing. I mean, you got a fan base though. A lot of us don't even have that.
You guys have worked hard to get where you are.
Yeah, which is great.
Very lucky.
Now, do you guys have any projects coming up that you want to promote on the show? Because we're getting to the last 15 minutes.
What do you guys have coming up?
Well, let me start promoting. So, she and I run the U.S. Comedy Contest every October through February.
Could you come a little closer to the mic? I want to make sure. I want to make sure everybody gets those dates.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so we run the U.S. Comedy Contest. It's the biggest comedy contest in the U.S. We're in our 17th year. Past winners include Anthony Jeselnik, Sam Conroe, who was just on America's Got Talent, and more. Anyway, we also have the Portland Comedy Festival every October at Harvey's in Portland, Oregon. Yeah. She's in charge of that.
Which, my fingers are crossed that is going to
continue. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do that in October.
Right.
I hope. October's like my favorite.
Maybe we'll do it online this year. We'll figure it out. We'll still make it happen. And we have big stars this year. Can I announce one?
No, we haven't.
Please do. Please do.
Oh, Rebekah said I can't. It's okay. It's her department.
I can't yet.
That'll just be TBA for now.
It's okay. I think it's because she's saving it for a certain press release. That's why.
Well,
that's okay.
I'll tell you
what. Anyway,
then tell us where we can find it.
A huge world star at this year's Portland Comedy Festival.
That's exciting.
The world will allow to happen because.
So the producers of that movie, Bro, What Happened, got into some arguments with each other and took it off of all the places for sale. So if people can find it, torrent it. I bet you can find it on Amazon and buy it or rent it. And we have a movie called Unfallen that our company produced. It stars Michael Madsen.
Michael Madsen? Oh, I love Michael Madsen.
Hey, you guys, Ron Jeremy's calling. You want to say hi to him?
Oh, geez.
Oh, my God.
Yes, please.
Oh, my God, wait. Tell him, answer and tell him that
he's live on a podcast. It'll be on speaker.
Ron.
Huh. This will be a real treat having.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Ron's
I'm
ridiculous.
on a podcast right now. Do you want to say hello on the podcast?
Yeah, just a quick hi. He don't have to say anything too crazy.
With me. I'm live on a podcast right now. You want to say hi?
Yeah, tell them they're from Brooklyn. That'll make them happy.
Yeah.
I'll be there in half hour.
If you tell them they're also from New York, they're like, oh, okay.
That's so true.
We definitely are. Well, at least I am.
My dad doesn't have the time of day until you say that they're from New York, and then he's like, oh.
Okay. Ready? Okay, you guys, say hello to Ron Jeremy.
Hi.
How you doing, Ron?
Thank you so much for saying hi to us. We're very grateful.
Yeah. So it's so great to hear from you. I haven't heard from you in forever. On TV, I mean.
Ron, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So Ron Jeremy has been getting a million phone calls this week because the tree his dad planted when Ron was born is scheduled to be cut down. But Ron, I have some good news to give you live on this podcast. There is a guy from the Forestry Service is going to go save seedlings and plant your tree for you.
Oh my God! Yes, yes.
I actually thought of that, but it's such a tall tree. They'll have to chop down a bit to do that, but that's fine.
He already did it. He's already got the saplings. He's going to take them to his house. He's going to put them in a certain powder that roots them, and he's going to make sure to give it to you. And I promised him in return you would go to New York and get it from him and take pictures and all that stuff.
When would the Northern New York thing be?
I don't know. Whenever you want, buddy.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. I know, buddy. You love your tree. I'm so sorry.
I'm so happy for you, Ron.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that they saved your tree.
Well, they saved the sapling.
Well, the sapling. Yeah.
The tree, you wouldn't know who was someone to cuddle with. The tree, I had this hugging thing. And we see this thing on Showtime, the documentary will say, like, I jump out of the car, go right into his arms, and give the little tree a hug, you know? It's not like this tradition. No, and he gets close to death. I feel terrible that I was right there to hug him, you know?
I know, buddy.
So, what you're doing is really nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. We're going to save its life and give it new birth.
Oh
Anyway,
my
Ron,
God.
Very nice.
Say goodbye to these people, and I'll see you in a half hour, pal.
Bye, Ron. Thank you for saying hi.
Bye, Ron. Thank you for the time.
Okay. Hi. Sorry about that.
No, that was awesome. That was great.
Yeah. Hey.
And also, I'm glad you got to announce that good news on the podcast.
Yeah, and make sure to tag me and Ron Jeremy. He's real Ron Jeremy, and I'll make sure that he reposts you guys on everything as well.
Wait, so they are saving the tree?
The tree is going to die. This guy was an independent that I sent over to the house to see if he could get saplings, which he did, or seedlings, or whatever they're called.
I see.
So basically, there's going to be a reincarnation for the tree rather than...
Correct. And this guy was going to fight the city if he thought it was a healthy tree for Ron. And this was all going to be a present for Ron. And the guy went over and goes, hey, man, this tree needs to go. And I was like, okay, I trust you. He's like, but I think I can save it. He goes, I can't promise. I'm not God. Nature is nature. But I took 3 different ones. I'm going to put them in powder and hope we do it. So we'll see.
See, that's great. Because sometimes, it's kind of symbolic to life. Sometimes things have to die for new things to begin.
Yes.
Right.
I love it. I love you. Everything you say, I'm like, she's taking the words right out of my mouth.
Oh my God, I love you guys so much. This has been so great.
Can I just say, you guys are some really good people. It's very like
it's refreshing.
Yeah, Lindsay and I, we've lived pretty difficult lives, and we've had our share of messed up people. But it is so nice to know that there are not only decent people in the world, but there are decent people who are very successful in this world, and they've become successful by being good to others.
Right, like I could literally cry for what you made happen for Ron, because that sort of thing means the world to me. First of all, we need more trees in this world, and for something that means so much to him.
Right.
You know,
you
didn't
heard him how he said
way.
he's so depressed, the poor guy. I know. I could tell he was depressed.
You could hear it on the tone of his voice. You could hear the pain. And, you know, he seems like a good guy, and you guys are just so great to do that for him.
And the fact that you're able to give the world a glimpse into, because you know everybody who hears Ron Jeremy's voice or anything about him, they just think porn. But now it's just like, no, this is a human being. This is a man. He had a father, and
he has a family.
You know, he has a tree that he loved. How many people can say that there's a tree that he loved that you?
That shows a lot about his character.
Yeah, like that's very deep, and I feel like that's really important. And
you know what's crazy? I think you're right. And the world is feeling like that. And in a time where we are, you know, under such a weird, you know, thing with COVID and presidencies and all these other things, it is nice. And so many people have gone crazy for this story on the internet. Ron is, you know, he got like 40,000 retweets or something just for this.
Oh my God.
Incredible.
Well, and that's, you know, I'm so grateful for him from you guys that you would do that for him, because there's just, like I said, there's not enough kindness in this world, and with the world being so uncertain and how hard being a human is day to day, even if your life is good, even if you're privileged, being a human is difficult.
Yes, it is.
And to have others that will lift others and be there for them, and to make sure that, hey, I don't got to go out of my way, but I will, because I want to be good to you.
And we don't exactly live in a world that rewards kindness. We just the fact that you're choosing to do it anyway is, you know, we wanted to make sure that people understood how important that is.
And choosing kindness is a big show, like, of your character.
Yeah, you do. You are both so right. You know, my husband writes. He takes these pieces of wood and writes these positive, like, affirmations on them, and he posts them outside of our house, so people walking by, like, will see them and you know, make them have a better day.
I love that. See, that's similar to, like, my gratefuls every day. I say 3 things or more I'm grateful for every day I'm in the bathtub. Like, I take a salt bath every day, and I say my grateful things in there.
I'm pretty sure we're the same person, and I'm not joking. I feel like
oh my God, I love that.
I journal, like, I gratitude journal every day, like all that.
Yeah, like, just every little thing counts, you know. And I'm, you know, like Charles mentioned, we had a really hard life growing up and getting where we are. So every little thing that is beautiful, we're grateful for.
Yeah. And you know what? We're kind of in the same boat. It's not like we had terrible childhoods or anything, but we've personally in the past 10 years gone through, like, horrific stuff together. Just horrific. You know, I lost my whole family. She's lost a big chunk of hers. Her dad got Alzheimer's. We watched a friend of ours get shot in front of us. We've lost 60 friends. A lot. I mean,
Not 60.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. 4 years.
That is so
easily
traumatic.
So traumatic. Yeah, we went on a writer's strike for Joan Rivers, and during it, she died. She was our close friend.
I remember that.
Yeah,
oh my God, Joan.
And I love Joan too. That was
she was like the mother of comedy, pretty much.
Yes.
And she loved Rebekah. I remember this one time. She brought us into this back room where she studies her lines before the show, and we had never been in there. And she goes, "Dante, you're only in here because you are dating Rebekah. But Rebekah, I brought you in here to help me with my monologue." And she like sat there, and Rebekah would like pick all the jokes. It was great.
Yeah, it was probably the most validating experience of my whole life. Really, like hearing like a joke I wrote, like for her being told back to me. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and like Rebekah, like you said, I think you and I are the same person, because Joan is part of the reason I pursued comedy to begin with.
Yeah, me too, right? Like, she's
Dot
like
Matrix.
the best.
Dot Matrix.
She literally.
I'll put on some Spaceballs right now.
Let's do it right now. Let's go. No, I loved, one thing I loved about Joan is the fact that she was mean in her comedy, even to herself, but she was a good person.
Yeah.
She was a beautiful person. She was people. First of all, she was a beautiful person.
She was all throughout.
And you know what else is nice about her? She was real class. She was of that generation of my parents' generation where, you know, if you went to my mom's house at 9 a.m, she looked classy when she answered the door. You know what I mean? If you come
I
to
love
my house
that.
at 9 a.m, I'm going to be in my underwear. I'm going to have a weird hat on because I don't know who, you know what I mean? Like Joan
Oh, yeah, no, I have my mohawk to the side. It would be a mess.
Right. So we would go to her house, and you know what? I think we started writing at noon. Joan would wake up, and she would have her hair and makeup people come over and do her hair and makeup to sit there with us shitty writers and do a writer session. That's how classy she lived in her home.
That is the definition of goddess as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like,
how cool is that? That's old school too. Like, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't do that today. I wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Well,
you know, that's really important because, you know, we're millennials. We're still very young and just getting started. And we've experienced a whole lot of like this celebrity was caught doing this and these people's mess. After a while, you start to lose when you get jaded. When you have big dreams like we do, you start to feel like, damn, do I have to be a bad person to make a living in this world?
Right.
No, you don't. Look at Adam Sandler. He inspires me.
See, for me, I realized a long time ago that being a good person means I'll probably become famous, but it'll take me a little bit longer than someone corrupt. But it's so much worth it because like I would rather bleed for an ethical and beautiful and happy, healthy life and career and go through all of this extra effort I have to make than be some scuzzball that earned it for what? To hurt people?
Yeah.
Right. I started with Carlos Mencia. I remember before he was famous, we were doormen together at the Comedy Store.
Oh my God.
Get out of here, for real?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Eddie Griffin and I were all doormen together. And when his career started taking off, he started stealing jokes from every Hispanic comic I knew. And we
had heard that too.
We had heard about that.
Yeah, and it went on for years, and he got more and more famous, and he kept stealing more and more famous, and he would deny it. And then finally, South Park made that episode about him. The fish episode with Kanye, the B story with Carlos Mencia. And then, you know, finally he was on some video. What was it, dear? Do you remember?
It was a documentary. What was that documentary called?
About comics?
He was on it, yeah.
iComic?
I forget.
Anyway, he went on a documentary. I think it was called iComic. And he said, yes, I steal. So what?
Yeah.
He goes,
what the fuck?
He goes, rappers sample all the time. I put my own flair to your joke. So what? And the minute he said that, no one's heard from Carlos Mencia again. But you were saying how it's not like he was a bad person, but what he was doing was bad. So that does kind of make him bad, I think. Well, and so he got instant payback. Now no one will hire the man.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. Being a comic, that's the biggest no-no. You got to respect each other's material. Like, I have literally popped off on people for sharing my shit without, like, sharing it from my actual page. Yeah. Like, I'm a very chill person, but if you're, like, reaching into my craft and taking my work and the stuff I've bled for and taking money out of my pocket, that's fucking straight disrespectful, and I cannot get down with that.
Because comedians, they live on their words, and that's a sacred thing, especially to a comedian. You know, these people, if you steal a comedian's joke, you're basically stealing food out of their and their children's mouths at some point.
And, you know, it's one thing if you accidentally tell the same joke. You know, like, I've told the same joke and then like, oh, I realized someone else said it. But, you know, it's just acknowledge it. Be like, oh, my bad. Didn't know.
Yeah.
And there's like people have the same premise about things. You know what I mean?
Right. And, you know, it's okay to like kind of have similar references, but, you know, there's a line. You got to be respectful. I mean, I've heard of several comedians stealing jokes, and like I just have no respect for them once I hear about that.
Yeah.
I know. So it's sad. The Carlos Mencia of his generation, I hear, was Milton Berle.
Really?
What?
Yeah. And guys they let it go because he was Milton Berle, you know, Mr. Television.
That makes me so sad because I always liked him.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. I love the man. I've opened for him before. I have his autograph. I loved him. And do I know it for a fact? No, but every one of his generation seems to talk about it and say it like it was a fact. So I'm assuming it's true, you know?
After a while. You know, after a while, when, you know, the reputation starts to build up, you can't really question it anymore. And that's always a shame, like when a comic or someone you admire is revealed to be something that's not so great.
Right. It is sad. But I got to tell you, we were talking about Adam Sandler before Ron Jeremy called. And I wanted to talk about his career real quick. What he's done.
Please do.
Is an inspiration.
What's crazy is we just did an episode. We just recorded a whole episode about Adam Sandler because we love him so much. So please give your opinion of him.
All right. So first of all, I love him. Second of all, I don't think we know each other, but I have worked on his movies many times. One of the jobs I have, I'm the only person in the world who does it. I am a warm-up comedian, like for TV shows, but on movie sets.
Yeah.
But
sure. Oh, wait, you do warm-up comedies on movie sets? That's brilliant.
Yeah. So anytime they have like 2,000 extras, 20,000 extras, they only pay about 100 of them. The rest are there voluntarily. So they bring me in to entertain them for 16 hours, and we give away like a car at the end of the day or videos or something like that. Yeah. So I've worked with him many times, and I have to say he is who you want him to be. He's the nicest guy in the world. I remember this one time we were on The Longest Yard set, and I remember there was a 15-year-old kid who had just won a contest during lunch. It was a lookalike contest, and he looked just like Adam Sandler at 15. And when Adam came back to the set, I had the God mic, and I said, "Hey, Adam, I just wanted to point out that this kid won the lookalike contest, and he looks like you." Instead of just waving, Adam came all the way over there on his scooter. And this was, whenever scooters weren't even popular. Only rich people had them back then.
Wow.
He was on his scooter. He gave the kid a hug and said, and he grabbed my mic and he says, "Hey, someone get my scooter battery." And the kid goes, "Why?" He goes, "Because it's yours now." And
oh my God.
Yeah. So he gave the kid the scooter. And you know what's crazy? I ran into that kid in an airport 10 years later. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he was there with his family, and they were there with him, and they all were just like hugging me and thanking me and telling me what a great day that was. And I was like, well, don't thank me. It's Adam. He's just a genuinely nice guy, and I've never seen him be the opposite, not even when the cameras are off.
That makes me want to go cry for like 2 hours of joy.
Cry.
Like I might
cry.
Like I'm gonna hang up and just like sob, choke cry after because it's so great.
We love Adam Sandler. So again, we just recorded an entire episode of the podcast
of Adam Sandler love
because his latest movie Uncut Gems is coming out on Netflix. But we loved his. Yeah, that movie was great, but we just loved him so much. It's like let's just make the whole episode about how much we love Adam Sandler.
I feel sad that
we love him.
Yeah, me and my daughter especially love him.
They do.
She grew up on him. She's 16, like ever since she was little. But I have to say, past couple ones I think have been duds. However, the last one that I thought was the funniest one was what was the Jack and Jill killed me. Oh my!
I still haven't seen that one yet, and it's funny because like I've noticed that like he either has amazing films and then he'll have like a couple of meh, and then like more amazing.
I'm gonna check out Jack and Jill. Now that you've recommended it to Dante, I'm gonna check it out because I trust your word.
I just never got around to that one. It's just something I just haven't.
Al Pacino plays himself in it, and he plays crazy Al Pacino. Like,
like my favorite Al Pacino.
Yeah,
he's like doing Othello on stage, and all of a sudden his phone rings, and he's like, "Hold on, everyone, I'm getting a call."
Oh my God.
Oh my God. You guys are amazing, by the way. And we're coming close to time, but why don't you guys like tell us your handles and where people can find you guys?
Yeah, where can we find Dante and Rebekah online or anywhere in the world?
I'm Dante the Comic, Dante the Comic, and our company, its website is Golden Artists with an S Entertainment. So goldenartistsentertainment.com. Okay.
Yes, and I'm at Rebekah Kochan on everything. Just my name. It's REBEKAHKOCHAN is in Nancy. And yeah, follow me on Instagram and all the other things.
Yeah, please. And thank you so much for having us. You guys are great. We'll come on anytime, and we'd love to get more of our clients on.
And hopefully we'll be able to come to New York soon because I still have family there and we can all meet up and I can...
Or versi VC.
Or yeah.
That would be really lovely because like I feel like we could have a really nice like reciprocal relationship between us. So.
Oh, yeah. I agree. We'll stay in touch, okay, you guys? I mean that outside of this, please.
No, we will. We definitely will. Okay. Well, all right. Well, thank you for being on the show. I'm good.
It was our pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
And I'll send you guys our contact info and all that that you could reach us. So if you guys are in the area and we just like develop this beautiful friendship.
Which I hope we do.
Yes, and I've already added you to, I think, Facebook, but Charles, I need to find your social, buddy.
I will send you everything in the next email. I promise you that.
You need to get more active on social media.
Yes. I haven't been on social for a while, but I'll send you everything I got, and we'll make it happen.
All right, guys. Much love. Thank you so much.
You too. Have a great day, you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.